Page 53 in an old castle. This is a duet. You see on page 52 there's another part for this. It's the same song, but this is the teacher's part. It's a duet has two parts. Duet. A secondo part, which is the bottom part, a primo part, which is the top part. And they're labeled here in the book of which is which. So the teacher's going to play the bottom part and you're going to play the top part, similar to what we just did in the previous video. See, a lot of duet books, they'll do it this way where they'll put a part on each page facing, so you're both sitting at the same piano and the same keyboard and you're reading the same music. Some books do that. Other books, they're two separate things, and you got your part and then the duet part somewhere else. You don't know what's going on. A lot of them, the two parts are under each other. They're stacked. So it's like four stabs going across, where the two stabs are for the top two are for the top part, and then the other two stabs are for the bottom part. And you can see all four stabs as you go across. I like those because it's easy to keep it together. If one of you gets a little off, you can see what the other part is doing and kind of line up and figure that out too. But this can be fun here. But here is where the measure numbers come in handy when you're doing duets with people. You'll see at the beginning of each of these lines, there's a number above the staff with a box around it. That's a measure number. So they don't give you a measure number at the beginning. You start with measure 1 unless it's a pickup measure. So the second line, it's measure 5. Well, that means there must have been 4 measures prior to that. If you look at the first line, there's 4 measures there. It works out. But if you're rehearsing with somebody, and especially if you're on different pianos, and you need to start somewhere in the middle, then you can say, well, let's start at measure 7, or whatever it is, and you can both find where measure 7 is based on the measure numbers, and you can start, so you can start in the middle. This is a short piece. A lot of duets, you could have 100 measures or more, and you need to figure out where you're at. So having measure numbers is really handy. So I think in discussing this video and going over this, I'm going to refer to measure numbers here rather than line and how many measures over. I won't say second line, third measure. I'll just say it's measure 8 or measure 7 or whatever the measure is, and you'll have to figure it out then. It's good practice. So let's talk about Old Castle, or in an old castle, or doing something about an old castle, I'm not sure. 4/4 time. Right hand, let's just take both hands together, because really you're playing the same notes in both hands. They're just an octave apart. Because you'll notice here, you're starting here, in this position, and both hands are playing the same note names, A, B, C. They're playing the same. And you're just doing quarter notes, half notes, and whole notes. Hopefully that's not a problem for you. I hope not. So let's go ahead and jump ahead, and let's add in the articulation. Well, the only articulation really are the slurs. So lift up between each slur, and then lift up before you go on. And there's slurs in both hands here, so both hands are lifting up together. Just lift up between the slurs. It's like taking a breath. Don't mess up the beat. The beat just has to stay steady. You're just cutting the last note of a slur just a hair short so you can lift up. So you get a little silence before you go on. That's all that is. Then you go back and add the dynamics. Well, it's loud. The first line. Both hands the same. The second line is moderately soft, so you come sort of soft. I don't know what that is. You'll have to decide. And third line, come up a little bit to sort of loud. Here. And then you... Don't get loud to the last line. So watch the slurs there at the end of the third line. It's like measure 11 and 12. So it's measures. Then you're loud. And then at the end there's a retardando to slow down and get a little softer. Doesn't say how much softer. It's a feel. About a moderately loud to moderately soft. So the last line, you're loud. When you're doing a duet with somebody, you have to practice these getting retardandos and things like that, so you both slow down the same amount. Usually one person will lead it and the other person kind of follows along. usually. And since the melody rules, we're here for the melody, and this is what the top part is, melody, then it seems right to me that if one of you has to lead and the other has to follow, then the melody should lead. So it will determine how much you're going to slow down. And the other part has to follow that because the other part is supporting the melody. So the melody's in charge. Does it make sense? No. It gets a little backwards when you have a teacher and a student, because a lot of times when they do that, the teacher takes over and leads and the student follows along. And it's really opposite of what should be happening here. Here, the melody should lead and the teacher should follow along. Let's see. A lot of students won't do that with the teacher. They insist the teacher has to lead. Speed-wise, it's andante. That's sort of a stroll, a nice... That's the feel of the piece, is andante, not necessarily the beat here. Now maybe you think 1, 2, 3, that's a little fast? Well, it's the feel of it, and this flows along very nicely. To me, that's about an andante. This is my opinion. Let's play this very slowly here, the page 53, to make sure we got the right notes and rhythms. So I'll give us 4 counts, so let's just try that. I'm not going to do the dynamics, just notes and rhythms. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, off. Now, I'd like to do the duet part with you, so I'm going to play the stuff on page 52, and you can play the stuff on page 53 along with me. I can't slow down or nothing. We got to keep the same speed because we're still going to use a metronome. But I'm going to speed this up just a little bit to what I think andante might be. I'll give us 4 counts. Let's try this together. 1, 2, ready, go.